The Senior Center News and Events on Joe Thomas in the Morning, supported by Chronic Care Charlottesville and Dr. Brian Prax. Brian, good to see you again. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Doing great.
Yeah, one of the things, and my wife and I are, is let your garden be your pharmacy. My wife is big into that, and we've done an awful lot of that kind of thing. And you've looked at that as well. Medical science has some great innovations, but medications aren't always the answer to folks, correct?
Absolutely, and you brought up a great metaphor right there, and I often use that with regard to the garden. And in all the garden books I've read, in my experience with gardening, is that spraying chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, and things like that are poor management, really poor excuses for bad management of that garden. You want to really take care of your garden, take care of the soil.
And there are organic ways for you to protect your plants from bugs and those kind of infestations, even deer.
Right, absolutely. So we want to do all we can to protect ourselves, to afford ourselves the best immunity from those things. And when you bring it into the human system, we have our own garden within, we have our own biome, our own ecosystem, and a relationship with the bacteria. There's somewhere between 1.4 and 1.8 quadrillion bacteria within the human being, and we need to really learn how to synchronize and share that environment, because it's supposed to be synchronicity.
And does chiropractic and what you care do help activate that, I guess, is the right word?
Absolutely. Chiropractors have always been about working with the environment, and that you can't chemical or drug yourself into better health, just like you can't chemicalize or herbalize or anything like that your garden into good health either. What you have to do is you have to work with the soil and really work with the environment rather than trying to fight it.
Now, do you do a review with each patient? Because I'm sure each case is different.
Absolutely, 100% of the time. You've got to look at what they're doing, what they're eating, how they're exercising, if they're exercising. You really need to look at the environment, how they're caring for themselves, rather than just looking for the next pill, potion, or lotion that's going to help them to feel better or treat their symptoms.
I'm saving that one, pill, potion, or lotion. I like that. Brian, how do people get in touch with you at Chronic Care?
Yep, you can reach us at chroniccarecharlottesville.com or 434-977-5433.
Thank you so much. And to get with him and talk to him and get an evaluation done today.
I don't know if we're recording right now, but we should be.
Senior Center News and Events on Joe Thomas in the Morning, supported by Chronic Care Charlottesville and Dr. Brian Prax here with us. And Brian, the first time I met you, we were talking about chemotherapy and neuropathy. And I actually thought about it. I was over at the Smith Aquatic Center doing a workout on the elliptical, and my hand started to get tingly, my thumb, and I had to put my hand down and shake it out a little bit. And I said, I wonder if this is what Brian was talking about with neuropathy. Catch us up on neuropathy, because there are some medications for it, but it's not always the right thing, right?
Excellent point. Yeah, in Western medicine, the thing, unless you have spinal stenosis or some other reason where you need surgery, their only best bet or best go-to would be medications. And some of the most common medications are anti-seizure medications. That would be Neurontin, also known as gabapentin, amitriptyline.
If he's having trouble saying it, I'm not even trying.
Right. And Lyrica. And the other day, for a patient came in, and I went ahead to drugs.com and I looked up some of the side effects of Neurontin/gabapentin. And one of the things that I found under more common side effects were numbness, tingling, pain, and burning in the extremities. And I thought, isn't that what we're trying to treat here? So number one, the drug hasn't been approved by the FDA. They're using it off-label. It is really for seizures. It's an anti-seizure medication. And number two, the darn thing causes the very symptoms that it's supposed to be treating. It's ridiculous.
Well, but we see that so commonly in these lists of side effects. I'd love a business where the actual thing I'm trying to fix is a side effect of me, doing what I do. So what's a better way forward chiropractically over at Chronic Care Charlottesville to deal with neuropathy?
Yeah, and I do get most patients come in, they're at their wits' end. There's really, with regard to medicine, there is nothing else. That's the very best that they got. That's modern medicine. Treat the symptoms, learn to live with it. With your chemotherapy, hey, we saved your life, but now you have this neuropathy. There are a lot of better ways, and the best way that we do is we work to allow the person's innate immunity, the person's innate inborn healing wisdom of itself to heal itself. And nerves can heal. It takes time, it takes work, but that's exactly what we do. We dig deep, we find out what's the root cause of the problem, and we work towards helping balance that system out, and healing occurs.
How do people get in touch with you if they're feeling this?
Yep, it's www.chroniccarecharlottesville.com. 434-977-5433.
Awesome. Nailed it.
I think I said amitriptyline. You know the amylene one.
Wow. I remember one day
amitriptyline is what it was, darn it.
I was doing a news insert for a traffic insert in Philadelphia on the PBS station, the NPR station, and that was the straightest. You didn't interact with the host. The host would introduce you. Here's time for Metro Traffic with Joe Thomas. You do your thing, and I forget the sinus spray, but it was fluticasone furanate.
Oh gosh!
And you had to say it. It was, I forget, it was like Flonase was the name of the spray, but you had to say, with the active ingredient fluticasone furanate. And I went 15 minutes practicing it. Practice. And I've said it, fluticasone furanate, and now back to All Things Considered on WNPR, whatever it was. And the host broke format, and she said, "Wow, I'm glad I didn't have to say that."
Okay.
And we both busted up because it was so out of character to do anything like that on NPR radio. It was just such a fluticasone furanate. It's forever burned in my head.
I'd like to talk about irritable bowel syndrome.
Sure.
And that's a usually, obviously something's wrong with the bowels, but usually the symptoms would be alternating between constipation and diarrhea, and it's very common with chemotherapy. It's very common, and unfortunately it's getting more and more common.
I got the entree for this.
Okay.
Senior Center News and Events supported by Chronic Care Charlottesville. Dr. Brian Prax is here with us. Brian, when I was going through chemotherapy, one of the things that really stumped me, because I'm a guy, or at least I presume it's because I'm a guy, is my doctor, my oncologist, said one of the side effects may be some constipation. And I'm thinking, I've eaten 4 slices of pizza at dinner. I know what constipation is. And I had no clue. Yeah. Oh, was it a wake-up call? But you were telling me this is one of those indications of irritable bowel syndrome. Yep. Can you treat that at Chronic Care Charlottesville?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I want to be cautious to say that as chiropractors, we actually don't treat anything. If you will, I guess what we do treat is the human that comes in.
Well said.
And remarkably enough, the beauty with that is that I have to be cautious because only medicine treats symptoms, but the other thing is, oh shit, we better start over. I saw myself. Hey, thumbs up.
How's that?
Hey, Mark McCardle. Charlottesville Cycling Club. Good guy. All right, sorry about that. Strike. Yeah, now we're right in the bar. And it's right there, because the camera is right there.
Okay.
Hi, folks. Okay. Right. Irritable bowel syndrome. Let's take 2.
Senior Center News and Events supported by... Now you got me doing it. Yeah.
There, let me straighten up. Oh, wait.
Senior Center News and Events supported by Chronic Care in Charlottesville. That's Dr. Brian Prax, who stopped by to visit with us. Brian, we were talking about this. We talked about chemotherapy, and I remember the one thing is I didn't grasp because I'm a guy when my oncologist said, it may cause a little constipation. I'm thinking, I was 18. I used to eat way too much pizza. I know what constipation feels like. Oh, no, you don't. And you were saying that that's actually something that, with good chiropractic care you can address because it's also part of irritable bowel. I didn't know it was part of irritable bowel syndrome.
Yeah, and just to be cautious with that for a couple of reasons, chiropractors have always said that we don't treat anything, irritable bowel syndrome included, but what we do treat is the human being, and you help the human being to realign balance. And I'm not just talking about the spine and the nervous system, but what we do at Chronic Care Charlottesville is we work to help align the biome, the bacteria, the gut. Really, in doing so, that helps the whole entire body to heal itself.
The patient heal thyself mentality.
Exactly. And what the medications basically do, as all of them do, is treat symptoms. And symptoms are good. I don't like having symptoms either, so they're good to treat. But if we really want to correct the underlying problem, then we've really got to start to look at the biome, the bacterial colonies inside, and help to balance that out too.
Well, so when you do this and somebody comes in and says, is it just stomach pain? Is it gas? I mean, a lot of people make
constipation,
jokes.
alternating constipation, gas, bloating, alternating between constipation and diarrhea.
Is it chronic? Not to borrow from
Yeah.
the name of your business,
Yes,
but not
it
just
is.
it
Yeah.
happens because you ate something wrong or
Yeah,
funny.
usually it's a chronic situation. It's yet another sign that something's wrong. And I've had numerous people coming in after having been tested with ultrasound and blood labs and unexplained, nobody can figure it out. And we come in and we take a look, get people typically on a very, very clean diet, maybe a few supplements if needed, and voila, we have miraculous things happening.
And what you do is you really get the body healing itself.
Yes.
You activate all the parts because that's what our body is always meant to do, if I understand it correctly.
That's right. We just need to tap into that. The magic is within the body's innate immunity itself.
How do people get in touch with you if they're having issues?
Sure. ChronicCareCharlottesville.com, 434-977-5433.
And we'll get back to the Senior Center news and events next. Perfect. You want to do a weight loss piece here as well?
Sure.
It says weight loss here. Or
Yeah, I can
vitality.
definitely do a weight loss. I'd love to have the stat for you as well, and how many overweight people there are in America. If you could do a quick Google search, I think it's like 2 out of 3, or 1 out of 3 or something. It's ridiculously high.
Secret to getting good answers is asking good questions. More than 2/3, 68.8% of adults are considered to be overweight or obese. More
Yeah.
than 1/3,
Yeah.
35%, are considered to be obese.
I think the first one was overweight, right? Or considered to be
Overweight
overweight
or obese combined.
Okay. And of that,
Almost half of that number
almost half
is
of that.
obese.
And the number of obese people now have surpassed the number of overweight people.
Yes, that would be right, because if half of the 68% is 35%, yeah, that's absolutely.
68%. That's 7 out of 10. So that might be your line right there. 68% of us are either obese or overweight, and there are now more obese people than there are overweight. It's an epidemic. Yeah, I'm going to definitely, if you want to open up with that statistic.
Well, no, I'm going to open it up with a question. People wouldn't normally think of a chiropractor as somebody
Okay.
to go to for weight loss, but you can help them with that.
Yeah.
Considering
And then
how
you want
many
me to
of
do
us,
that, and then I can
I'll
do the
say,
stat?
considering how many people are obese, you can hit with the statistics. You're the expert. on this.
68% of Americans are overweight or obese, and of that number, more people are now obese than they are overweight.
Overweight, yep.
Okay. Okay, I'm ready.
The Senior Center news and events supported by Chronic Care in Charlottesville. That's Dr. Brian Prax. Brian, with so many people having weight loss issues, they don't normally think of somebody who would be classically called a chiropractor as a place to go for that, but you can help them with that, can't you?
Yeah, actually, and to clarify, people don't have weight loss problems. They have they have weight gain problems.
Yeah, that's true.
And unfortunately and seriously speaking, the statistic now we've climbed to 68% of Americans are either overweight or obese, and very recently the number of obese people have surpassed the number of overweight people. So it's an epidemic in America. And yeah, absolutely. Now, we're not doing chiropractic adjustments, magic adjustment, and having people lose weight, because 70% of your weight gain or inability to lose weight is coming from nutrition. And of that, what we're looking at are those simple and refined carbohydrates. That's where the problem is.
Is it because we get them in our system, they go away, they finish doing their bit, and then they really haven't given us nutrition, so now our body's saying, okay, I need more fuel?
That's exactly it. That's one major part. That's right, because the body's saying, hey, I still need this, that, and the other nutrient. We're basically taking in empty nutrients. But in addition to that, what those refined carbohydrates do, Joe, is they turn into sugar in the blood quickly. Insulin, the insulin hormone comes in, pulls the sugar out of the blood, and the body is so efficient it says, whoa, we should store this energy. How does it store energy? It stores it as fat later on to be broken down, and if we're not exercising like we should be, it just stays stored as fat.
How can somebody get help from somebody like you at Chronic Care in Charlottesville?
Yeah, so what they can do is they can reach out to us by calling us, and that number would be 434-977-5433. You can check us out at chroniccarecharlottesville.com, and we will do a very thorough evaluation and see if we might be able to help somebody with losing weight.
Well, also, especially if you have a carrying too much weight problem, that can manifest physically, like your joints hurt, your knees hurt, your back hurts, and that lessens your inclination to exercise.
Bingo. Yep.
Brian, again, remind people how to get in touch with you.
Sure. chroniccarecharlottesville.com, 434-977-5433.
And we'll get back to the Senior Center news and events next on Joe Thomas in the Morning. Great.
Yeah, I thought it was a little early to go into the phone number, and I was like, is he wanting my phone number and contact info?
No, I didn't mean that, but I just
think
meant
it was
in general. I think it worked out
okay.
fine.
You want to do another one?
Sure, if you want to.
All right. I want to go on the...
I mean, we can run these because now that's four,
we get four of
that
them?
we just did, and that'll carry us for a month.
Okay.
So, and then we can come back and do another one. Or, this will get us 5 weeks. So
see if you can work this in, Joe. I know you can work anything into anything, but I love it. Or it just makes me cringe and just my stomach turns upside down. I have people coming in very, very sick and taking like 12 different medications, but yet at the same time they're like, oh, I have the best doctor. I have Dr. So-and-so from UVA. He's the best in all of the Eastern Board from the Rockies.
His wall is full of frames. I can't read them, but
he's the top doctor. We get that all the time, and I'm like, how's that working out for you?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
You're feeling bad. Yeah.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
So I like to talk about the best doctor thing, and
sure.
I don't know if we can go with that, and if what you're doing isn't working, we need to look at something else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not your doctor. He might be the best, but maybe
I'm going to lead
system.
in by saying, hey, we have lots of great doctors in this area, but every patient is different, and every patient needs attentive care, and then we'll turn it into...
Or even what makes you so great.
Yeah.
You know.
The Senior Center news and events supported by Brian? Senior Center news and events on Joe Thomas in the Morning, supported by Chronic Care in Charlottesville. Dr. Brian Prax, functional neurologist. Brian, I know we have so many great doctors in this area. It is one of those great medical places, one of the reasons a lot of people like to live here. But every case is different, and that's the wonders of humanity. Is what's the expression in the sorry,
trying to get that from yourself. Yeah. I'm trying to help you.
Senior Center news and events supported by Chronic Care in Charlottesville. Dr. Brian Prax, functional neurologist, stopping by. Brian, this area, one of the reasons a lot of people like to live here is because we have a lot of great medical professionals, and you're one of them, but everybody's results may vary. I guess that's that great caveat. Your results may vary. Mm-hmm. So when you see a patient, it really comes down to how are you feeling, isn't it?
Well, actually, not really. When I see a patient, we usually get the sickest of the sick, and it just makes me cringe when I hear patients say they've just explained all their symptoms, the 12 different prescription medications they're on, the 5 different wonderful doctors, and then they're bragging, minutes and minutes on bragging how they've got the best doctors from the Rockies East, and this doctor's the best. He's the tip top of the best, and I'm like, yeah, but why are you here? If you've got the best doctor, why are you sitting here telling me about all your symptoms and all of your conditions? And here's the analogy I give to people. You could have the best bus driver in the world, but if you're on a broken down bus, you're not really going to get from point A to point B. It doesn't really matter the driver. So I think really what we're seeing is the medical system of care, which is drugging somebody, attempting to drug somebody into better health, frankly, is not working.
Well, yeah, you reach a point of diminishing returns even with the best intentions. You get to a point where the body has to be able to heal itself and pick up from there. And we do have an infinite capacity to do that.
Yes, we do.
And that's what you activate at Chronic Care.
And listen to this statistic. Americans comprise 5% of the population of the world, yet we take 50% of all the medications.
What?
According to the World Health Organization, we're ranked 50th in the world in terms of healthiest nations of the world. Clearly, based on the statistics, it ain't working. The bus that we're on is broken down. It's not working. So we need to get, maybe not change the driver, but maybe change the bus. That's what we address.
When somebody comes into you, what do you start to finish holistically, look at chiropractic, but also look at diet, nutrition, and all of that?
100% right. Some people need chiropractic, some people don't. Most people need a revamping of what they're eating, how they're exercising, if they're exercising, and getting their bodies to function better, and as a result, they'll feel better.
How do they get in touch with you, Brian?
Sure. ChronicCareCharlottesville.com, 434-977-5433.
Nailed it.
Cool. That one went good?
Yeah, no, it was awesome. And these will be every Monday, so.
All right.
Great.
Can you make a note to yourself to email me those?
I will do that as soon as I get. I've got a room full of plates spinning that I have to
yeah, it's
pay
fine.
attention
We're
to.
good.
As a matter of fact, your presence here got me out of a meeting.